Well, it's a dangerous fight.
Yeah.
Because Joshua's going to try to make an example out of him, for sure.
And will.
I mean, Anthony Joshua's one of the biggest. I mean, he's a one-punch, night-night guy.
Yeah.
If Jake Paul gets knocked out, will his career be over? Buddy, his life may be over if he gets knocked out by AJ, because that dude put Francis Ngannou flat on his back, and I had never seen Francis Ngannou hurt before. Again,
this is a proper. I don't think that I would ever consider having a debate about whether Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul is a proper fight between two bona fide champions. I think Jake Paul is someone that's creating a lot of opportunity for himself and using sport as the anchor for it. And would I watch it? No. And do I value it? No.
Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua. This is no longer a joke, no longer a rumor. This is getting dangerously real. From Joe Rogan to Wade Plemons, from Leon Edwards to Francis Ngannou, the entire combat sports world is warning Jake that he is stepping into something far beyond entertainment. And today, we break down every detail. Let's get straight into it. Joe Rogan has sounded the alarm loud and clear. Jake Paul is entering extremely dangerous territory, even considering a fight with Anthony Joshua.
Good Lord. Good Lord. I mean, that's a big if. Right? Anthony Joshua, Olympic gold medalist, former heavyweight champion of the world. What he did to Francis Ngannou, good Lord.
Yes.
Do you want that smoke?
Yeah, I just think it's all about the promotion or whatever. I have no idea what the actual motivation is for. That fight's not competitive at all.
Well, it's a dangerous fight.
Yeah.
Because Joshua's going to try to make an example out of him, for sure.
And will.
I mean, Anthony Joshua's one of the biggest one-punch KO artists ever.
Yes.
I mean, he's a one-punch.
Rogan reminds everyone that Joshua is not a YouTuber, not a part-time boxer. He is an Olympic gold medalist and one of the most powerful heavyweights of this era. Rogan believes Joshua wouldn't just try to beat Jake Paul. He'd try to make an example out of him, sending a message to every influencer calling out world champions just for money. According to Rogan, the skill gap is so massive that things could turn very brutal for Jake.
One, yes, that's the former heavyweight champ. Why is he fighting Jake Paul? And two, why is Jake Paul putting his health and well-being on the line? Because someone asked me on Twitter, Wade, if Jake Paul gets knocked out, will his career be over? Buddy, his life may be over if he gets knocked out by AJ, because that dude put Francis Ngannou flat on his back, and I had never seen Francis Ngannou hurt before. Again, it's boxing, not MMA. Jake has a little more experience, but we're talking about a massive size difference. AJ's still relatively young and still relatively got something left in the tank, and he's only fought the world-class guys for the last 10 years. This would be Jake's not only hardest fight, most dangerous fight of his career. If Jake is doing this, it could signal the last one. I'm not even joking. This could signal Jake being like, I'm having one more of these and I'm out. Because where do you go from Anthony Joshua? We'll get into that part in a second, but the Netflix thing. We know that Anthony Joshua is an exclusive fighter to DAZN. Eddie Hearn has stated that multiple times. AJ, I'm pretty sure, even has a piece of DAZN. I could be wrong about that, but he signed a mega deal years ago with them. So for this fight to take place on Netflix would mean DAZN would say, you can have one of our biggest cash draws, and I may be in a revenue share thing, or maybe Netflix pays them some money, but you can have our biggest cash draw and we don't have an affiliation with it. That seems a bit unrealistic. But having said that, this isn't a report from anybody in the camp. This is not MVP saying it. This is not Eddie Hearn saying it. This is Mike Coppinger, who I guess has talked to people in the camp. But an independent source saying that they are finalizing a deal. Not that they're in talks. They are finalizing a deal.
Wade Plemons from the Wade Concept also issued a powerful caution. He explains that Jake Paul is about 90 kilograms, while Anthony Joshua enters fights at around 111 kilograms, a massive difference in size, strength, and natural power. Plemons stresses that fighting entertainers, ex-athletes, or MMA strikers is one thing, but stepping into the ring with a prime, Olympic-level heavyweight is something entirely different. He even warns, if Joshua knocks Jake out, he might never fully recover. Plemons believes Jake Paul's hunger for big paydays may be blinding him to the real physical danger he's walking into. Boxing Kingdom revealed that Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua is being negotiated as a professional boxing match, not an exhibition. Rumors say the fight is being targeted for December, but Eddie Hearn is telling fans to slow down. Hearn says no formal contracts yet. A lot of the talk is speculation, but then journalist Ariel Helwani added something interesting.
Paul are finalizing a deal for a heavyweight fight on Netflix in December in Miami. Sources tell Ring Magazine Paul steps up massively to fight the former heavyweight champion after his exhibition with Gervonta Davis was canceled. Major props to Paul. So there you have it. In the midst of all this, I did reach out to Eddie Hearn, as did Gareth, and he said, "We have spoken, but nothing close, and I doubt he would be so crazy." He being Jake. I then asked him, "Would you say this report is premature?" He said, "Absolutely." And then I said, "Can I attribute this to you?" And he said, "Yes." And so what do we make of this, guys? Do we think there's smoke to this fire? PT, what do you think? You think this is something that could actually happen? This would be within the next month, right? This would be sometime between now and probably December 19th or so, in that time frame. What do you think?
I think it's a huge fight. You know, I didn't expect this at all. Usually when Jake is in a fight, the odds feel like they're stacked very much in his favor. This is the complete opposite of that. I'd very much agree with Gareth A. Davies' take, which was I'd expect Joshua to obliterate him in a boxing match. I mean, look what Anthony Joshua did to Francis Ngannou before that Dubois fight. Like, I mean, it was a completely different affair than the Tyson Fury fight. I think, having heard Eddie Hearn's update and having looked at that tweet again, it feels like boxing's equivalent to the old in the works reporting that we used to see in MMA an awful lot, right? Like when we weren't quite sure, maybe one side had verified that this fight is happening, but you can't get the other side to commit, and it's in the works. It's a huge fight. The one thing I will say is, why would you want that out there? Why would the Ring report this? Why would someone give them that information if it wasn't going to happen? Now, because everything else pales in comparison to this, as far as I'm concerned. Every other fight that they had, perspective or potential, I don't think it's as big as Anthony Joshua. So I don't know.
This isn't a ring fight, right? This isn't a ring fight. Anthony Joshua is tied to DAZN. Anthony Joshua has a relationship with Turki Al-Sheikh and
Hell when he believes that when a rumor explodes this fast, something is definitely happening behind the scenes. He predicts the fight could happen late this year or early next year. So the smoke is real. And where there's smoke, there might be fire. Even UFC champion Leon Edwards reacted to the news.
This fight's in the works, Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul. As a Brit, how do you evaluate?
I've just seen that. Someone just told me about that. That's mad. Fair play to Jake Paul, first of all, for taking it. But if Asia doesn't knock him out in like 1-2 rounds, then I feel like the fight must be fixed or something, because I'm going to Anthony Joshua, obviously, for the KO. So yeah, when is it, you know?
It's meant to be next month they're working towards.
Oh yeah, sick. Yeah, I'm going AJ for the win.
Cheers.
He said, if Anthony Joshua doesn't knock him out in 1 or 2 rounds, the fight must be fixed. This shows the massive gap in power, experience, and skill. If a UFC world champion thinks the fight shouldn't even last 2 rounds, that tells you everything. Francis Ngannou, one of the most dangerous punchers alive, fought Anthony Joshua and was brutally knocked out. The knockout proved Joshua's power is real, devastating, and nothing to take lightly. Jake Paul was already considering a fight with Ngannou, which was crazy enough, but now he's targeting the man who knocked Ngannou out cold.
Find both ends of this. Okay. So when that falls through, the rumor is that Francis and Jake are still in talks. Even though Francis did not come through on the event he was offered and the date he was offered, MVP and Netflix may be willing to reschedule everything and still make him part of it. And Francis' big statement was just, hey, this doesn't make sense. No, it's not what I'm looking for. Doesn't make sense. Okay, that's not my business. I can't be mad at Francis for that. That just cost Francis a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. That just cost Francis life-changing money. I can't be mad. If I'm mad at Francis, then I got my way. He cut off his nose to spite his face. I can't be mad at him. He's already been punished. What good does it do me to be mad at him? All right. Well, then you bring in Joshua, and Joshua shows you how it's done. Right? Joshua and Francis are not remarkably comparable. Not only did they box, they're not remarkably comparable, but in the world of boxing and just the accomplishments. I mean, you take Joshua Benson, Olympic finalist, for goodness sakes, right? Just like lifelong, very well known. Multiple generations of boxing ties. You know, go all the way back to Klitschko. Go all the way back You couldn't go before Klitschko was there first, but you go all the way back to Klitschko. Anything that has ever happened in the sport of boxing since you can tie Joshua to, and he's a professional and above everything else, he's a real boxer. So if he is to say something makes sense, then it makes sense. Right? If you have Joshua's opinion of does this make sense to, now none of us know what sense mean. We don't even know if he's spelling it with an S or a C. None of us can define or tell you what this means. It makes such little sense that Francis can't even tell you why it doesn't make sense. But again, I can't be mad at Francis. He already pissed down his own leg. So, but if you could have Francis's opinion of what in the world of boxing or combat or money or business or sport makes sense, like
this isn't confidence. This is a gamble with life-changing stakes. Earlier, Jake versus Gnu was discussed, but Gnu publicly declined, saying he wouldn't waste his time fighting an influencer boxer. Now, Jake is chasing a man even more dangerous. And that wraps up today's breakdown. Jake Paul is chasing danger. Anthony Joshua is bringing real heavyweight power. And the entire combat sports world is watching to see whether this fight becomes reality. If it gets finalized, this could be one of the most shocking and most dangerous events Jake Paul has ever stepped into. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Stay tuned. Bigger news is coming.